So for my comparing movie to book project, I decided to do Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, comparing the book to the movie. The book was written by J.K. Rowling and the movie was directed by Mike Newell. This book is for ages 10 and older, and the movie was rated PG-13. So on your left is J.K. Rowling, and on your right is Mike Newell, both very different people, very different creative styles, and they both worked on the same story. And they have very cool similarities and differences of how they pictured this story. So, the overview of this story is that Harry Potter is now 14 and in his fourth year at the Wizarding School of Hogwarts. He plans this year to stay in the background and enjoy the Triwizard Tournament, not like the past 3 years where he's gotten into trouble. Little does he know that someone is going to place his name in the Goblet of Fire, forcing him to compete in this dangerous tournament. Will he discover who's out to get him, or will this friendly tournament lead to something bigger than he imagined? So there's a little overview of the story. It's very good. I highly recommend the book and the movie. Both very, very good. So my first comparison I want to look at is the look. In this book, Harry Potter is described of having messy hair that never sits right. He's actually described like this in every book. But in the other movies, this look from the book doesn't match up. However, the Goblet of Fire movie finally gets it right. As you can see, his movie part versus the book part, his hair is very similar in that messy little way. In the other movies, this comparison is very different. So my second comparison is the action. Many of the action scenes in the book are drawn out for time in the movie and have changes that the director thought would look good on film. An example of this is the dragon fight in the Triwizard Tournament. An action scene that is extended is this dragon fight scene. In the book, Harry remains in the arena and accomplishes his tasks very quickly. In the movie, however, they both fly out of the ring toward the castle, adding some flair to the movie. My third comparison is one that people love to complain about, where Dumbledore says, "Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?" This is one scene in the movie that makes die-hard fans very mad because it's totally the opposite of how it happens in the book. When Dumbledore finds out that Harry's name's in the Goblet of Fire, he approaches him calmly in the book and asks him what he knows. In the movie, however, Dumbledore is running, angry, and he nearly chokes Harry for an answer. My personal opinion, I think this is one of the funniest scenes in the Harry Potter movies, so it doesn't really bother me too much. My fourth comparison is that in the movie there is no house elf liberation front. In the book, they talk about equal rights through house elves. These creatures are introduced in the second installment of this series, and their purpose is to serve wizards. In the Goblet of Fire book, Hermione, Harry Potter's friend, is trying to fight for their rights, and no one else really listens to her. She campaigns, she tries to show people that it's not right to make them work for no money, and then this gives us some big roles for the house elves like Dobby and Winky. But in the storyline, in the movie, this was cut for time since the book is 700 pages and it didn't serve enough to the main plot. Other characters are put in place of the elves in certain plot elements. An example of this is replacing Dobby, giving Harry what he needs to perform a task, and rather it's Neville giving Harry this magic, I think it's seaweed, to perform the task underwater. The fifth comparison is horrifying images. In the book, when the Death Eaters attack in the beginning, they are waving muggles, or humans, over their heads with their wands against their will. In the movie, this was cut for what I'm assuming is keeping the PG-13 rating. This scene in the book was very hard to read. I watched the movie before reading the book, so reading this was very scary to me, and it kind of shocks me that this book is for 10 and up. But they did not show this in the movie, and I think that was for the better. Another scene is when Voldemort comes back to life and is dueling Harry. Harry is more descriptive in the book of what he's feeling during these events, the pain that he's going through. In the movie, they make it less intense so the movie can, again, stick to its rating. It's still pretty intense, but you're not inside Harry's head knowing truly all the pain that Voldemort is putting him through. A last example is when Barty Crouch is found in the woods. He is not dead like in the movie. He is severely wounded and seems crazy as he pulls Harry, begging him for help. The director cut this part and just made it that Harry found his dead body. He probably thought that this scene would, again, be too much too intense. Reading it in the book, it was a very intense scene. He comes out all bloody and he's pulling on Harry, and then Harry goes to get help and he comes back and he's gone. So I think they thought maybe for time as well, cut it so then they wouldn't have to go through all of that. Some other comparisons that I'm just going to mention real quick are Hogwarts theme song. This was not in the book. They added it to the movie, which I think is awesome. It's so funny when they sing it in the movie. Not showing the Quidditch match at the beginning. This match goes on for a long time in the beginning of the book, and they cut it in the movie, I think, for time, and it's not like super important to the main plot. Another one is Barty Crouch's house elf's involvement. Down in the right corner, Winky. She's not even mentioned in the movie. In the book, she serves a little bit of a bigger role with the whole plot twist and how everything's been happening, but I guess that they figured that they would be okay without her in the movie. How Harry discovers it wasn't Mad-Eye Moody. One of his teachers is not actually his teacher. They're pretending to be his teacher. And in the book, Mad-Eye Moody, who's in the bottom left corner, he tells Harry, but in the movie, Harry figures it out. So I don't know why the director made that change. Maybe he wanted Harry to be more of a mystery solver than he is in the book, because in the book, he's kind of naive to stuff, which I think is cool, but this change didn't really bother me that much. The journalist cutting schemes, the journalist also down in the left, she is present for a little bit in the movie, and they kind of show the basic gist of her, that she's always trying to look for scandals, but they don't go in depth as much as they do in the book of how far she's willing to go to find those scandals. And then the last one that the book and the movie did very well is showing Dumbledore being angry when he finds out that Mad-Eye Moody is not really Mad-Eye Moody. In the book, this was probably one of my favorite parts because Harry describes that he's never seen Dumbledore so angry before. And they really do show this well in the movie. Harry looks very scared and Dumbledore's trying to ask him to do something and he's just standing there like a statue. So I think that the book and the movie both did a very good job of depicting that Harry's really never seen his mentor get mad. Too bad that in the movie they showed him get mad earlier when he wasn't supposed to get mad. So here's a quote by J.K. Rowling. She says, "We do not need magic to change the world. We carry all the power we need inside ourselves already. We have the power to imagine better." I think that she's a very wonderful person and she's brought such an amazing world to our lives, and she's just a very good role model to encourage us to just use our imagination, hope for the better and just find good stories out there.